Pickaxe.
Cast Party, your favorite D&D podcast, is turning 3 next month, and we are pulling out all the stops to make this anniversary month unforgettable. Our merch store is reopening its enchanted doors, and we've conjured up some brand new, never-before-seen designs to celebrate this momentous occasion. From heroic tees to mystical mugs, you'll find the perfect gear to flaunt your love for Cast Party. Throughout the anniversary month, we'll be bringing you special episodes, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and thrilling surprises that will transport you deeper into the world of Fendraeya. Join us as we start the month off with a look into The After Party, a Patreon-exclusive one-shot series, but you get it for free. The cast and crew will be playing through the plot of Through the Realms of Myria, the very movie that started it all, dropping for everyone on our main podcast feed November 1st. We'll then take a look behind the scenes as the cast chats about each episode of Cast Party that drops in November, and a look ahead to the exciting future of Cast Party. We wouldn't be here without your unwavering support and enthusiasm, so let's celebrate together. Stay tuned for giveaways, Q&A sessions with the cast, and chances to win limited edition Cast Party merch. So mark your calendars, invite your fellow adventurers, and gear up for a month-long celebration of all things Cast Party. Want a sneak peek of the upcoming merch designs, a backlog of over 100 hours of one-shots, or maybe just want to support your favorite D&D podcast? Come join the fun at patreon.com/castparty and hang out with the cast and crew in the Discord. We are inching closer to 250 subbed patrons, and we have our announcement goal coming soon, which will be cryptic in nature. Patreon.com/castparty. Thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy the episode, cast and crew.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Fables of Fendraeya Wyldacre. My name is Jose Polino, or at DM Jose G, and I'll be your director for today. I am joined by my thriving, yet emotionally tarnished crew, beginning with Ryan.
Hi, Ryan McManus, and I'll be playing Fiffin, the Maker Taker Hater Satyr. You can find me on my personals at rye.mcmanus or running the Cast Party socials at Cast Party D&D.
Nigel.
Hello, Nigel Deacon playing Pond, your favorite froggy friend who hopefully finding a future family. You can find me at Nigel Sucks LMAO on every social that matters, fumbling like I just did.
Betty.
Hi y'all, my name is Betty. I am who.the.lovely on TikTok and Instagram, and I play Quinn, the mighty owlin, who is as mighty as she is small and emotionally traumatized.
And finally, we have Seth.
Hey everybody, I am Seth. I am playing Cheese the Dog. You can find me on TikTok at Noctopus and Threads at Noct.topus, and anywhere where dreams live.
So last we met, you guys emerged from your battle with that lion-like demonic creature that formed from the shadows and nightmares deep within somewhere in the universe. And then you guys began to make your way back to the Archdevil's abode. There you were still being toyed with. Cheese, you were tricked again by what perhaps is the voice of Marikar, perhaps is not, but there is a genuine touch to her calling. Pond and Fiffin, you're both toyed with this idea of, why are you even here? Why are you even doing what you're doing? What is the purpose of it all? And Quinn, you were faced with a little bit more of a personal thing that manifests itself physically. This automaton owl that, from all these visions and experiences that you've been having, resembles your mother quite heavily, or I'll say more of what you could remember from your mother. But there is this moment where the owl attempts to recognize, through some process of the mind that is no longer there, but is retrofitted with new mechanisms to allow it to hopefully remember. And it attempts to, we pick up right where she doesn't recognize who you are. A little smaller owl, also by the name of Quinn, perches on her shoulder, baby automaton owl, and they ask you, what was your name?
I'll look at the littler owl. Her feathers are like fluffed right now. She's like very on edge, but is actively choosing a gentler path than she may have. And she'll crouch down to the little owl. My name is Quinn too.
You watch as the little owl cock their little head, and you hear then from the mother owl, gears turning at an incredible pace. The Archedevil has been engaged in conversations with you, Fiffin, and Pond, and Cheese, but in that moment, that garnishes his attention. And he turns around, and he looks at you, Quinn, and he goes, what have you done?
I've done nothing. I didn't do anything, and she'll stand up and back away.
The owl continues to spin rapidly. And you now see as the little owl turn around and go, Mama? As this owl now completely almost freezes, and it just seems like a robot that is glitching. Her eyes begin to blink wildly as her head begins to cock slightly, and her feathers almost like elevate on springs and then lower themselves again, and then elevate themselves again, until eventually you hear and the head of the motherly owl drops. Oh no. And he goes to reach for her. You all now notice the motherly owl that was standing there in front of Quinn completely almost powered down. And the Archedevil reaches over and grabs her, and you watch as all of the little critters and animals and other automaton imbued creatures are still in the space, but their attention is now sort of drawn to whatever is happening with the Archedevil.
Pond is pretty dialed in on Quinn. He doesn't understand what's happening, but he can see that Quinn is distressed. The robot seems distressed in its own way. He's ready to help in any way that he can, but he's so unsure that so he's just kind of like standing at a weird distance where it's like, I'm not close enough to touch you to like put a hand on your shoulder, but I'm not far enough away where you're not going to notice that I'm there. It's just that awkward space where you're just like, okay.
Cheese parks up next to Fiffin with the cab. Shadow steps out of it. And I think he trots up next to Quinn. Everything okay, Quinn? Are you all right?
Quinn is just gonna continue to like back up, subconsciously going to the safety of her friends. Kind of say as the Archedevil takes the owl, I didn't touch her. I didn't mean to do anything to her. I didn't, and just continue to like fumble over her words as she kind of backs up and like sensing the presence of her friends kind of stop when she's away.
You watch as the Archedevil, now in what kind of looks like a makeshift workstation, towering above all of you. I'll say more so Fiffin, you're the one that can kind of see at an eye line what's kind of happening. He has sort of placed her in the very center of the table. Out of nowhere, in front of him, a sort of wooden-like tree branch shelf appears with all kinds of different gears and mechanisms and connecting cables and things. And he sort of begins to look at all of them, and he goes, "It is nothing you did. She is just lacking in something." You! He turns around to you, Fiffin.
Yeah.
Come here.
Anything to help. What do you need?
You come over, and you essentially now see the same sort of incredible collection of different pieces, and it almost just seems like trash. It just seems like a hoard of metal and scraps.
That's gold to Fiffin.
The Archedevil points to it all, and he says, "Can you do anything with any of this?"
Let me work my magic. What do you need? What is wrong? I don't know what's causing this to happen to her.
Her heart is broken.
Literally or figuratively?
And he picks up a piece from the shelf and he goes, "Both."
Great.
Oh, God.
As you're all sort of like gathering around each other and like gathering around Quinn, a couple of the other creatures also begin to slowly make their way. Quinn, at your feet, that snake coil up, and she looks up at you and she goes, "It will be all right. The bull sort of like perches behind you as well. All of the intensity of this much bigger creature diminish. There is a comforting sort of like group setting happening in your area. But the Archedevil looks to you, Fiffin. Lacking in the heart, lacking in spirit, lacking in hope. What is the solution?
Fiffin's gonna start rummaging through the metal. He's trying to expect the heart first off to see if he can figure out what is actually going on with it.
You essentially see before you the owl that on one part of the chest that is all mechanical and robot-like, it opens and it's all these very intricate pieces that just allow it to separate enough for a hand to go through. Give me an investigation check.
14, but I'm gonna use my reaction for Flash of Genius to add 4 to that, so 18. Dire circumstances.
You watch as the Archedevil reach within, and then you hear and it takes out a silver ball. And he holds it in his hand, and he says, "Here you go." It's like a solid metal ball. No ridges, no cuts, no wherever you think it could separate. It's just a solid metal piece. As he hands that to you, and when you grab it, it begins to sort of like pull colors from your gauntlet that radiates with some green energy.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's still going. There's still hope and magic in there. It's just we need to connect it all. I have one single idea and it rests on Quinn. Can I have a feather?
Yes. Quinn will kind of fluff her wings out a little bit and take the tippy-toppiest feather on her little wing, fly it up to you, very tentatively perch on the side of the work table.
I'm going to go over to Quinn. I'm going to hold out the steel ball. If you can just hold onto the feather, I'm going to rotate this ball around, try to make something happen. If you can just provide me a steady hand, that'd be awesome. Steady wing.
I'll try.
And while she has it in her hand, I'm going to reach the steel ball up, take my pointer finger from the bark gauntlet as it begins to zap and spark at the very, very tip. And I want to try to almost solder the feather, tracing the outline around the steel ball as I twist the ball, and just hope that that little bit of love and connection can spark it up.
Tracing these fine little lines of the feather. Give me a sleight of hand check.
13. I'm going to do another Flash of Genius for a 17. That's my last one.
Carefully taking your fingers, tracing it. There are some parts where Quinn's feather splits. You follow that inward and out. And you, Quinn, just basically see sparks coming from this just silver ball that Fiffin is holding and tracing your feather along the edges of it. What are you thinking of in this moment?
Upon seeing the mother owl and the baby owl letting herself kind of go to a place she has not in a very long time, which is, it's very much like inner child, right? The place of like letting all that hurt that she had kind of hid for a long time come to fruition, and just like feeling the pain of the loss of her mom from the first time and not willing herself to do everything she can to help this process so she doesn't lose her again.
Fiffin, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Can I guide?
Nice. Dirty 20.
As you're getting towards the bottom of the feather, and Quinn, you feel this tug and pull of anger, yet understanding, yet comfort, misplaced feelings, all this running past you. But universally, you sort of come to a simple truth, which is this is happening in front of you, and this matters right now. And Fiffin, as you feel that stare of almost every single creature watching what you're doing, you feel your hand, your pointer finger, as it traces, it almost wants to deviate from the feather and start going in a circular fashion. But you catch it, and you continue cutting through, soldering the design to a perfect degree. You manage to catch yourself, You continue. You get to a point where you're about to wrap up, and the Archedevil says, "It cannot be completed."
Oh, what? Why? You haven't even let me finish yet. Can we try to pop it back in? How are we supposed to know if it doesn't work unless we test it?
It's missing something.
What else could it need?
It looks over to Pond. Touch.
What?
Touch.
Okay. And Pond will reach out to the ball, just gently place his hand over top of it with being careful not to touch anyone else's hand if they're holding it. I would want to avoid the feather if I could, just in case the poison skin would have any damage to it.
You hear in the back of your mind, weak. And the Archedevil looks to you. It's missing touch.
I don't want to undo anything that Fiffin and Quinn have done.
The Archedevil turns around to you. And why?
Because they've worked hard to do it. I don't fully understand what's happening right now, but I know that it means a lot to, at the very least, Quinn.
But if you had the ability to do the impossible, and all it required was for you to be a little selfless, wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, selfless, yes. I would do anything to help anyone.
Then touch.
Pond is going to look to everyone to kind of get a read for what they think of this, which I know is not what the Archedevil wants. He starts like awkwardly humming while he's doing it too. He'll adjust his hand so that he touches the feather as well.
Like a spark. It begins to almost sear in every single fiber of the feather as your poison begins to spread through it. Your soldering on the sides of it, Fiffin, almost begin to bubble. And the entire ball itself begins to radiate with a heat. And the Archedevil goes, "Are you a good boy, Cheese?"
Tail wags. I hope so.
Then hold this.
You got it.
All of you kind of see as this like now almost flaming ball gets thrown at Cheese.
The dog instinct in me says catch the ball.
You bite it. For a brief second, you sort of panic because you think the heat is going to be too much. You think about your teeth, you think about your tongue, your entire mouth essentially. But the minute you catch it, it just begins to cool.
All right.
You hold it in your mouth, but you feel it thrumming with energy. It's almost like your jaw itself begins to slightly vibrate, but the bubbling and the red ember-like energy stop. There's just smoke coming out from your mouth now. It does feel cool, but there is something inside that is just vibrating.
This one feels weird, guys.
That was a good catch.
It hurt for a second, real hot, but now I feel kind of cool, okay?
I'm shocked. That thing was like 1,000 degrees while I was putting that feather on there. You're just fine?
Huh?
Okay.
The Archedevil places his hand out for you to drop it.
I don't. It's mine.
He's got a point.
You watch as some of the other like little animals laugh as well. They're like, and the Archedevil looks at all of you and goes, "Can one of you at least get him to drop it? Cheese, I would very much like this, please."
Can you roll a charisma?
Sure.
I don't want to delay the game, but you did ask a dog to drop a ball.
Not the most charismatic. 14.
All right, well, I only rolled a 6, so. She's eyes him and then onto the ground.
And it falls heavy. It doesn't roll. It just sort of like lands still on the ground. Quinn, a heart needs a purpose. Can you give it that purpose? Righteous as you are small.
Her feathers are gonna kind of flatten a little bit. and looking at her friends who've all just helped her and have been helping her this whole time, she kind of stands a little taller. Yes.
The ball just sits there now, silver with almost like cracks to it, but a beautiful feather on the center that is now turned kind of like a vibrant green, but it has a beautiful, almost like perfect stamp to it. And it just sits there in the center of the ground.
Quinn will grab it with her talons, fly back up to the workbench where her mom is laying, will kind of set it next to her. She'll set herself next to her mom. She'll kind of put her feather over the ball, say over the cold steel of it. I think I've gotten my purpose all wrong this whole time, but I want to do this one right. And she'll look to the Archedevil and just set the intention into the ball. She'll say, take care of the people you love and let them love you back. I think that's a good purpose.
Make a persuasion check for me, Quinn.
Seeing Quinn going through it, Cheese goes into emotional support animal mode. He just very slowly and gingerly like moves up to her side and just sort of sits there. He doesn't get in her face like the more energetic dogs like to do. Sidle up to Quinn and give her the help action?
Sure.
It's a natural 20. It's a natural 20.
Oh!
Hell yeah.
Love conquers all.
As you're holding on to the ball, Quinn, and you feel this sort of like comfort that allows you to ease into this moment and feel like you can open yourself up to it, the ball itself begins to peel away at the center, right where the feather is. It splits at the very center, and it opens just halfway. Two sides of it come down, and essentially almost like an onion in a way, it begins to peel back, layer after layer after layer, until in the very center, one silver layer, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth. And on that next one, a little golden sets of rings that all kind of spiral like an atom, spin wildly on the inside. And there you see a flickering light trying to ignite itself. And you hear from the Archedevil, time has a way of healing things, yet the absence of love sometimes doesn't allow us to think how we should. Hope is lost in moments when those we hold dearest fail us. Purpose is misplaced in the journeys we believe we must take, but lead us astray. You, Quinn, Pawn, Cheese, and Fiffin are nobodies. Yet in this moment, you are everything. You watch as the center of it bursts like a light. And from the inside, you see it almost like begin to take on a reddish kind of hue, and it begins to swirl with the golden rings and begins to spin faster and faster and faster. And in that moment, the rings, they seal up again as the last layer seals, and you see the feather coming together.
I'll kind of pick it up with my talons, set it where I saw it pulled from, and then just kind of nest myself down right next to her head. So when she opens her eyes, the first thing she'll see is me.
You let go of it, you hear it just roll in. The chess piece closes again. And you hear that same sound. Mechanisms deep within, combined with the organic matter of it all. And slowly, her one owl eye opens. And there is a moment where her look to you is almost shocking. And she says, "Do I know you?"
Yes.
My name is Quinn. And we are, quite like you and I. You were hurt. You were really badly hurt. And you were trying to get back to me. And you couldn't.
My child. My Quinn. Oh, look at you. How long has it been?
It's been a while, Mom.
Oh, my Quinn. She grabs you and embraces you.
I'll hug her back.
From the table, the little owl tries to nuzzle in between the two of you. And you hear Floor from the carriage. That's nice. And as you hold her and she holds you and you sort of feel an embrace in this moment, she snaps you back. Is the town safe?
Yes, it is.
Are you safe?
I am. Yes, I am.
How old are you at this point? It doesn't even feel real.
I know. How do you feel? Are you alright? I can't imagine what it must have been like.
She turns around to the Archedevil and the Archedevil goes, it's been some time. Her memory is here now, but I cannot guarantee that it'll remain this way. You watch as the Owlin, she looks over to the Archedevil. She goes, what little time I have, I will bestow upon you, my child. There is a danger plaguing all of Wyldacre.
What?
A darkness and an influence means to take over the Fae. She looks over at the Archedevil and she says, when is the celebration? It begins today. Then you must find... and you watch she kind of coils her head. You hear the mechanisms and the wiring and the gears turning. She goes, you have to find the missing soul. Find him. Grant him an audience. I don't really remember, but Quinn. Town. Wyldacre. Fendraeya is in danger. You have to do something. I'm sorry, my love.
Mom. And I'll just put my hands on both sides of her face. I love you.
From the one eye, you can see a tear begin to form, and it comes down. I will grant you all the love that I can, but I don't know if we're too late. The celebration is dangerous. I just remember him.
Who?
Looking at me with those eyes.
Who, Mom?
She looks over, and the Archedevil looks back at her and then places a hand on her head. And he goes, rest. And the Archedevil then looks over to all of you and goes, I need an audience with Sire. The little owl turns around and sort of sees you all confused. And the little owl, also named Quinn, says, we don't call Papa that other word, but the Archfey, his name is Sire. And Floor from the distance goes, I feel like I knew that.
You know everything. It's fine.
And Floor just kind of looks over to you when you say that and then just kind of proceeds to keep on playing with his fingers, just kind of doing little silly baby things.
No, I'm joking. Why do you know that?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you might have been a little mad with me.
No, Floor, I'm sorry. I don't know how to be a dad. I'm sorry. Floor, how did you know that the Archfey was named Sire somehow in your infinite mind that is just now growing?
Well, that's a little condescending. But I always knew, I think, that name is always there. And then the Archedevil turns around and goes, the name of the Archfey is pure. It is not heard by many, but heard by some. Grant the Archfey his name, connect the soul. I'm afraid the Archfey's soul is being tampered by darkness. You watch as your mother rests her head, and then she opens her eyes up again and then looks over to you and goes, you must go. I will go with him. And looks over at the Archedevil. The Archedevil presses his hand closer to the table and she begins to scale it until she gets up to his very shoulder. She arches her wings and then coils them back. And she says, "Where we are going, you must be careful. You must not trust. Yet all you can do is trust. Tread lightly, my child." And the Archedevil, he looks to all of you and he goes, "When we arrive at the celebration, everyone will be behaving exactly as they're meant to. Happy, rejoicing, celebrating. Do not give any insinuation that anything is wrong. Chaos thrives in the midst of all of this, and there are certain powers that thrive in that chaos. As far as you're all aware, you are simply delivering a gift to the Archfey. We will figure out a way to get to him. Understood?"
Well, if there's one thing I know how to do well, it's pretend to be happy.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Sorry, everyone.
He gets up now, and you watch as the rest of the animals, they look over and they're like, "Papa, where should we go?" "Where should we go? And what about us?" "You're all welcome. You're all childs of the Fae. Come with me." And you watch as the Archedevil, he begins to walk down a staircase that leads you down to that entrance of that weird gnarled tree that you all came in from. He's just walking ahead with purpose, and your mom, as the Archedevil begins to go down slowly from the stairs, turns around to you. "We'll try to make some time."
Be safe.
We should probably get going ourselves.
I'm so tired.
I could use a nap, but let's go.
We're not sleeping here.
Thank you, all.
Give you a happy little bark.
Of course.
Don't even worry about it. You'd do the same thing for us. Well, maybe. I don't really know what happened there. I'm so confused about literally everything that's happened in the last 8 hours. But I know that you would do whatever you can to make sure that we can carry on, prosper, be happy, and take care of us and keep us safe. Like you always have with town, as far as I know.
I can vouch.
She didn't come back one day, and I didn't know what happened. And now I know what happened.
I'm glad you got to talk to her again.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all.
So you guys continue to descend. That same light up doorway meets you at the bottom of the stairs. And off in the distance, you can see where everyone's sort of gathered around that broken piece of the veil. You see that there's a couple of people now that have been gathered there. And amongst them all, you see what look like giants just sitting, waiting by the veil. Arms crossed, some of them like poking it. You hear the thundering echo as their fingers crash onto it.
Might have some words for Yermo when we get back, but...
Yes! I forgot about that!
Did y'all see a bunch of dreams and stuff while we were in there? I know we saw a couple visions, but any others? It felt like we were seeing them all the time.
Yeah.
Me too.
Not really.
I have a passive insight of 18. Does that perhaps seem like a lie?
Yeah. Something to the tone of Fiffin. Even to you, it's like in that moment of you sharing in that confusion, you sort of go, "Wait, hold up." If you turn around.
Something smells like horse shit.
Pond is just like narrow eyes staring at Fiffin as we're walking,
Narrow eyes back.
but he's not gonna say anything.
This is something else I was kind of thinking about. If the automaton we saw was Quinn's mom, do you think that the other automatons there, and maybe even the other creatures that have the circles on them, were other creatures at some point?
That were fucked with by the Archfey, yeah, I do.
In some way or another.
I feel like fucked with is kind of, I don't want to say the right word. For all we know from what we've seen, Didn't he kind of save your mom?
Yeah, I think he did. Yermo was the one who found her.
Yermo seems to be at the heart of a lot of these points that we're working on. Yermo found your mom, Yermo found the baby.
Guillermo found me.
Called shot Guillermo's the Archfey, but I'm not saying that out loud.
I was about to say, is he the missing soul? We need to find the missing soul and give him an audience.
Yeah, who could that be?
Guillermo certainly has more questions than answers right now.
How long have you guys known Yermo?
I mean, he's just wandered in and out of town every now and then. I don't think I've ever met him on a personal level, but...
Honestly, yeah, I think the first time I ever met him was when we were walking out of town. And he was like, I'm Yermo.
Yeah, at least on a name basis. Like, I'm sure I've seen him from time to time wandering about, but never on a, hey, how you doing, good morning basis.
Well, I think there's a phrase out there of innocent until proven guilty. So, I guess in this context, not a soul until proven souls like.
Why haven't you ever said that we're innocent until proven guilty? You always just say we're guilty.
Because you are.
I don't doubt that Yermo is suspicious right now based off of all the things we've learned. He knew Floor immediately. You saw him in your visions, and he was the one that told us that the hole was there. It's just like, it is super convenient that he's at the heart of all this, but I don't want to go after anyone just based on a hunch.
On the bright side, if he is who we think he might be, we are kind of granting him an audience by bringing this shard back and fixing the bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bridge has to get fixed either way.
Did I hear correctly that saying the Archfey's name is kind of like a secret password to get us into the castle? Doom Fortress, Death Mountain.
The Doom Fortress Death Mountain.
Well, are we banking on Yermo being the lost soul, or are we just gonna go into the party looking for people who are soulless?
I'm banking on Guillermo knowing more than he lets on for sure.
I also think maybe our friend Floor might be the lost soul.
Oh,
We were
true.
quite lost when we found you, buddy.
Floor, do you have a soul?
Floor is like sitting in the cart and he's blowing like spit bubbles that are just kind of like, and then they pop and he goes, huh?
A soul.
Oh,
Do you have one of those?
yeah, I think we all do.
That's deep, Floor.
You're asking a baby if I know about a soul. My mind is like developing faster than I can anticipate, but that doesn't mean I know everything.
I just come to you for answers now. I feel like you should know everything.
He's in his rebellious baby teen years.
Oh, okay. The terrible 2-week-olds.
Well, while we think, I'm gonna play some music. And we gotta be happy, right? Everyone put on their happy faces.
Yeah.
And I will pull out the lyre and I will start performing just a little bit, just playing the lyre, and have it be like really upbeat sound, doing my like throat singing along with it, so that it's kind of like it feels like a summer night with like the frogs
Okay.
like doing their croaking in the distance, and you hear the bullfrog like boom from like halfway across the world.
You all continue walking. As you're getting closer to it, you now sort of see that the Archedevil, I say at some point before getting closer and closer to the crowd, looks over at your mom, looks over at all of you, and then he says, "Take this." And he hands over the shard again to you all. I won't be too far behind. And his form goes into itself, becomes like a tapestry of silks and robes until it becomes another pile of clothes. And from it, an owl emerges, a white, beautiful owl, pearlescent, diamond-like skin. And it takes off, your mother following behind, and what other small little flying creatures that can take to the air as well. You guys continue walking. As you get closer, you notice now there is less conversations and talk sort of happening. And you notice that at the center of where everyone is gathering, seemingly talking to everyone, you see a familiar tabaxi, a minotaur.
I forgot about them.
And an orc.
We can take him.
No, we can't. No, we can't.
They're all sort of standing by with a carriage that the minotaur straps over its shoulder. It seems that he's the one sort of carrying the weight of it. The carriage doesn't have the cover to it. It's just kind of like an open carriage. But in it, you see that there's kind of like a fabric that is covering something within. And the tabaxi, Wania, she turns around and she says, "Oh, look, who finally decided to show," as you're all playing your fun music and joyful attitude. Rook the orc, he kind of like,
I have a moment of pure panic, but it is masked immediately because I'm an excellent actor.
Yeah.
Then give me a performance check.
While he's doing that, I am opening the door, shoving the shard into the cab, slamming it, and whispering, "Floor!" Lock shut, arcane lock.
My performance check was a 26.
Damn.
Nice.
Pond, you pluck away and you sort of pick at that string a little too hard. Bing! And then you use that to your advantage. So you begin to pluck others strong and becomes a picking pattern that then you sort of continue on, and it sort of rejoices again into a wonderful song. And a couple of the creatures around begin to clap as Wania, she turns around, she goes, "Quiet, all of you. There's no time for celebrating." And then everyone at once goes, "But the celebration is upon us, the celebration." And it just kind of becomes this weird mesh of everyone becoming so happy in this moment, singing along to the music. So much so that one giant catches your eye, Pond.
I'm sneaking into the crowd.
Okay. By yourself?
Yep.
Okay. Pond, you would recall a certain giant from back along some time ago. You see before you, shirtless, but with what looks like pelts adorning the shoulders, a pretty pronounced jaw with scars just sort of like adorning certain parts of the body, and a massive club that now sits underneath his legs. And as he sits there sort of like looking over and he begins to rejoice, he goes, "I recognize that one right there."
My face lights up. The recognition is coming through. Hello! And I just like excitedly kind of just like pick up the tempo a little bit, and I start dancing while I'm like playing to kind of like get everyone up and moving and show my excitement that I recognize my friend. And
you essentially see this giant before you that for a brief second, it almost takes you a bit. You feel that rejoice, you feel that moment of complete acceleration, and each one of you in this moment begins to feel the notes that Pond is playing hit a little closer, and they spark that little sort of touch of listening to a song the first time and then discovering that you generally are going to just love the song. You just sort of find that feeling. And the giant looks at you and he goes, "Now then, do you remember me? Because I remember you. Your name was..."
You can do it. You can do it.
You watch as his hand swing out as it sort of like almost swooshes as he's trying to pick you up with one sort of movement, but you feel the wind and the clouds almost separate as his hand just sort of thunderously comes faster to you. You watch as everyone begins to scream, but in that moment, he picks you up and he lifts you up and he goes, "I remember, Pond. I remember you very well." And he brings you over to sort of like the side of his face, which is just massive compared to yours. And he goes, "Between you and me, little one, I am as lost as you are." And you watch as he begins to laugh, and the vibrancy of his voice and the resonance, all of it begins to shake all over. And Wania from the bottom, she's still screaming. She's like, "Enough! All of you! Stop the singing! Stop the music!" And now the orc that is standing there, Rook, Yeah, I like this. This is quite good. I need everyone minus Pond to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy, that is not good. That is not
Wisdom,
good.
he says.
That is cocked. That
In the crowd, I was hoping to find someone with a cape. I just want to yank it. Amidst the hubbub, just see if I can take my little finger, like my soldering finger, and just chop off a little piece of fabric so I can drape it over the cap.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll say fairly easily. There's a lot of, different creatures here of different makes that are all adorned in their best outfits for the celebration. You can find somebody that has a cape that they sort of hold it a little tighter as they're listening to the music, and you sort of come up and you slash through it, manage to get it, and you cover the cap easily, no problems. Like a reddish kind of fabric.
Perfect.
What did you guys roll?
4.
21.
11.
Quinn, you feel a moment where amongst the yelling, amongst the screaming, the laughter, the rejoicing, and Pond just playing his music, and even what the giant said to a degree, it throws you off. It kind of makes you question it for a second, so you resist as the air around you sort of tingles your senses, and you shake it off. But Cheese and Fiffin, it's a party. You're feeling good. You're feeling great. You can't wait to get started. You see it from the distance, clouded in a mist, these 3 beautiful ivory towers that remain on the opposite side of the veil. And you still see the broken piece that remains that needs to be placed within. But you can't help and feel in this excitement, in this almost countdown to the gates being opened. So with that, you watch as Bjordor, the Minotaur, he takes the carriage and he turns around, and as he does, Quinn, what's your passive perception?
My passive perception is 13.
There is a shifting within the cart that then sort of becomes still. And then the Minotaur, he turns around, he goes,
Well, I'm just as excited as all of you to get inside, but there's no way we'll be passing through without the gate being fixed.
and even they have a genuine excitement to them. The only one that you see from around you, Quinn, that doesn't is Wania, the Tabaxi.
Can I clock that everybody's kind of party gone away from themselves a little bit?
Yeah, where before everybody was waiting here saying okay, well, we can't keep moving forward. Everyone now is well, today is celebration. I mean, it's the first time you've all also been here on celebration. But you gathered that there's definitely another touch to it. There is something that is innately making everyone beat along with every strum that Pond is making.
Yeah, I would like to just sneakily see if I can kind of fly through the crowd a little bit and skipper and scamper and get to the cart, and I'll whisper, "More," to unlock it. Snag the little piece from outside quick, and my goal is to not be noticed as I'm kind of doing this to get the shard out. Sneak through the crowd, and I'll try and find Fiffin in the crowd.
If I catch that at all,
You can see it all, Pond. From where you are currently, you can see everything before you.
Like in the crow's nest up there.
seeing that and taking in it all, seeing the Tabaxi, seeing the Minotaur, seeing what Quinn's doing, I'm going to try and get my giant friend a little bit more into it to try and get him to chant and sing along with me to try and get more people's attention at people looking at him. If he stomps even just a little bit, I'm sure that would bring people's attention. But I'm hey, come on, sing with me. It's celebration day. It's celebrate good times.
As you're beginning to do this, when you say, "Come on, sing with me," he says to you, he goes, "Okay, do you remember my name?"
Well,
I think Cheese, while this is all going on, Cheese is dances up to Fiffin. He's like, "Do you got any more of that fairy powder?
God, I
Give me
wish.
some of that fairy powder, baby."
The best I could do is this. Fiffin will smack the back of his gauntlet, and the gem just kind of pulses like a little ray of light, and he'll just fist bump next to Cheese. This is the best I got. Sorry.
Of course, Half-Thor. Sing along with me.
Very well. Blah. He just doesn't know. He just kind of like shouts out into the space. Blah, and the air begins to move and the ground shakes. As Quinn, you sort of take that moment to get closer and closer to the cart. And all of you feel in this energy. For some reason, pawn strumming is coming through. But it is chaos here. It is just noise and wonder and excitement. And you get closer, so make a stealth check for me.
I would love to do that. 14.
You quickly begin to pass through a couple of people. You see from the corner of your eye, you see both Fiffin and Cheese that are elating in this space and in the moment. And Cheese, you guys are still very much aware and in control of your actions, but you innately feel an urge to tuki. You know what I mean? But what are you guys doing in this moment? So you covered up the carriage, Finn, but some time has passed. Fiffin, passive perception for the both of you.
16.
14.
Both of you definitely like managed to catch Quinn as she's like sneakily passing through the crowd, very stealth-like.
I wonder what Quinn's doing.
Hey, man, you gotta let people enjoy these parties their own way.
That's true. I shouldn't hinder her expression of her true self. She's gotta let it loose sometimes. She's so uptight. Don't tell her I said that.
It's almost like the screaming from the giant when it comes and goes. It sort of like manages to harmonize in some weird way. It's all just expressionistic, really. Quinn, you're making your way over towards the very face of the veil, right? Where the broken piece needs to be placed.
Mm-hmm.
You continue passing through, and as you get closer to the cart, there is like a foul stench to the cart that the Minotaur is holding, the sort of like carriage that they have. But now you see dancing along, the Minotaur is like getting down. Roll another stealth check for me.
Before Betty shares the stealth roll, would it be possible for me to, in the midst of all of this, cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on Wanya?
Oh.
Absolutely.
I need a wisdom save.
Wisdom save, you got it.
I'm gonna control flames, a big old bonfire for us to dance around.
Dance around the bonfire. Hell yeah.
That is an 11.
She fails.
Ooh.
You take that moment, you let go of the spell from the hand of the giant, and as it gets to her, you watch as she stops, and she goes, okay, now, everyone, stop! And dance with me! And she begins to now laugh, and she goes, it's uncontrollable at this point! And she's like dancing along and begins to laugh and chuckle, and in that moment you have a good clear path to potentially get to there without seemingly being too noticed. What did you roll?
A 19.
Quickly, you manage to get in front of Bjordor the Minotaur. She begins to laugh, and other creatures around begin to laugh, but she can't help but furrow her eyebrows still. There is still like an anger and a frustration to her, but she joins in. They block your path, and you get to the very front of it. And there that space waits, and you're holding the shard in your hand.
I am going to look at the shard, flip it around because I was holding it the wrong way, and then push it in.
You press it in, it glows around, it sits flush against it. And in a unison, you see as like a curtain being lifted upwards towards the sky. These fireflies of different colors begin to lift and lift and lift as before you, shining, this diamond-like with multicolor bridge shines through, like almost as if someone lit a light underneath. It lights up, and there before you, covered in fog, you see as the fog begins to dissipate, and you see a barricade that almost comes around this magnificent fortress, comprised of white stone marble that shines. The walls of it come down in a fashion where it seems to link up with the very entrance of this bridge. And there before you, with fireworks, the Nightwell Fortress.
I will make an announcement from up on the giant's hand The bridge is here. It's time to truly celebrate. Everyone, let's head to the fortress. Then I look at the giant and say, "Can you please put me down? I need to make sure that you wash your hands. I don't want to hurt you."
Very well, Pond.
And he brings you down.
I hop off and immediately cast Create Water.
Okay.
Just right onto his hand and just say, "Please make sure to wash your hands in case any poison rubbed off on you."
And he clasps both of them together. And as he does, just like water sprays everywhere and it begins to rain water on all of you. And he kind of like weirdly rubs them. And then as soon as he rubs them on his bare chest. And then he goes,
Everyone, follow my friend.
I start playing again and start walking towards the bridge.
As the dancing kind of comes to an end, Cheese poses and like rears his head back as the water splashes down on him, real flash dance style.
all of you now begin to make your way through. Pond, you continue strumming along and singing as now a crowd of creatures are following your lead into the Nightwell Fortress. And each one of you, as you step onto the bridge, you step on it and you feel excited, rejuvenated. This counts as a long rest.
Yes.
Thank God. Thank you.
Kill.
Thank God. Thank Jose.
But you feel that as you're sort of like, when you step onto the bridge lights up. Quinn, when you step onto the bridge, it lights up in that similar color. So it's like your steps are unique and yours. Cheese, your orange, and are they white paws?
Yeah, real Nickelodeon.
You continue to step through and you see that same white coloration. Each one of you, it follows, and it's just a cavalcade of colors as you're making your way through. And as you're making your way through, from the distance, you hear what sound like trumpets, but not welcoming, grandiose trumpets that are all playing in unison. All of these trumpets are playing another note at another key, at another tempo. And everyone cheers with excitement. Fiffin and Cheese, go ahead and give me another wisdom saving throw.
Oh, 4.
7.
Damn, guys.
You still feel good.
Let's go,
Hell
bro.
yes. I don't want this to end.
You guys continue heading through. Quinn, when you placed that through and then kind of Pond took over and then walked in front and everyone is now, Pond is leading the crowd. What are you doing? You notice that Fiffin and Cheese are still very much like dancing and joyfully like playing along. And Cheese has Floor in the little carriage locked up and covered. But what are you doing in this time as everyone now sort of begins to come inside and traversing the bridge?
I would love to fly up, kind of still stealthily make my way back a little bit. And I want to see what's in that freaking carriage. I want to see if I can't swoop through the crowd and kind of around, so I'm not cutting on the side of them that they would see me. But like kind of through the crowd, and I'll be like, haha, yeah, party, and then go around the back and see if I can be like, party vibe.
Then go ahead and give me an investigation check.
26.
Everyone is walking, the Minotaur is like walking along as well. And you see that from the open carriage, there is this like tarp-ish kind of fabric that is covering everything. But as you're sort of like moving and shifting and people are bumping into the cart, you still catch that like really foul smell and you see a familiar featherless hand.
I knew it.
With another hand and another and one that looks vaguely familiar. Yermo's hand. And everyone continues dancing along and you see a pile of bodies being brought. And the music rages on.
Could I gather this is probably their gift? And they're dead? Deceased?
Hee-haw you know to be dead. Yermo's hand is still seemingly lifeless. Perhaps unconscious to a degree, perhaps very badly damaged. But the other hands that are there that you can tell are either on the brink of death or fully dead.
Can I fly in? Can I get in? Is Yermo on top?
Yermo seems to be on top, yeah. Seems to be the most recent addition.
I I want to land on Yermo and I want to cast Cure Wounds on him.
Fairly hard for anyone to truly pay too much attention to you as everyone is doing their own thing. Give me a stealth check with advantage, followed up by a sleight of hand.
22. Sleight of hand. Dirty 20.
When you get up to the cart, you manage to not get anyone's attention, and you sort of like hide yourself within. Smell still very pungent and strong. And there, lying on the top, is Yermo. You place your feather on him and you cast Cure Wounds. And in that moment, he just kind of...
Can you move?
Quinn.
Can you get out of the cart?
I'm sorry. What happened?
I don't know. I was gonna ask you.
Oh. And he kind of like turns around and he just kind of looks at you and he goes, oh, shh. I was attacked. I meant to be taken as a gift to the Archfey. But I'm not a gift. Look at me. My horns are not even polished.
Roll to your right. And I'll kind of demonstrate. I'll like roll off the side of the tarp to show him that you can kind of just roll out.
Rolls through and he kind of like stumbles out and he goes, and what? Once I get out of the carriage, I do what? I just rejoice and sing. I might be covered in blood. Oh, my hip. Oh.
You're fine. I didn't think this far ahead. Just move away. And kind of push him into the crowd and like prompt him to be like, party, it's party time. And I will lead him to Fiffin and Cheese.
He stumbles out of the cart. Now that you see him, he definitely was attacked to a degree. He was here with everyone. Everyone was here. These guys rolled up. Did they attack him when everybody was here? Is the music so much commotion and greatness that nobody can even process what they just saw? Like, you sort of begin to think about all these things as Yermo kind of goes, very well. And you watch as his horns begin to glow and they sort of like have like this shimmering texture and quality to them. And his fur begins to lighten itself and he kind of goes, well, your friend Pond definitely has a good taste in music.
Mm-hmm. Is he getting the effects of the bridge?
He is, but more so. He takes his hooves and he kind of like stomps them on the ground and he goes, on me then, Quinn. And he grabs your feather and he spins you around.
Oh!
And you guys begin to like traverse through and you're making your way towards Cheese and Fiffin, who are like deep sweat, still just like
Reg.
Glow sticks and fanny packs full of...
Love it.
You arrive at Cheese and Fiffin. Pond, what are you doing? As you're getting closer and closer, you now notice that from the entrance of this magnificent place before you that is now shining vibrantly with these glorious purple mountain ranges that come from the side that highlight the pure white ethereal look to the fortress itself. There are these fireworks that emerge up, and as the fireworks sort of burst, there is like a flash of light that happens, but then from the complete opposite side of the sky above you, that's where the sound comes from. And it's just this misshapen, weird-like fireworks that you've never experienced before. If you've ever experienced fireworks in your life, it is a completely different experience altogether, with colors that shift and move, and some fireworks, when they even shoot off, they engage with each other, and it becomes like two figures, it seems like, that begin to dance, and then they come down like rain. It's very beautiful, but you are leading the charge. What are you doing during this time?
With the invigoration from the bridge and with the excitement of performing for all these people that seem to be loving it and wanting to continue to celebrate, Pond's just like lost in it himself. Like, he's just continuing walking forward as long as there isn't any visible opposition. He just keeps on going, leading the charge into the castle, having a great time, playing lots of music.
Leading away, this incredible initiation to it all. Quinn, you arrive at Fiffin and Cheese.
Look who I found!
Yermo! Party time, Yermo!
Oh my gosh.
Party doesn't start till Yermo gets here.
Comes up to you guys and he's dancing along and he goes, Quinn helped me. It seems I was attacked.
It was super fucked up.
You're very chill about this right now. That's lit.
Well, it's the start of the celebration. Did you still have the baby, right?
Yeah.
That's right, Yermo. Once we stop vibing so hard, we got some real tough questions for you, but that's for another time.
Real deep conversation incoming.
Whoa, that seems like a total buzzkill, man, but okay.
It might harsh the beginning of the celebration a little bit, but God knows we can bounce back.
All right. Guillermo kind of like just excitedly is going along. He goes, well, whatever you guys need, let me know. I want you all to enjoy this celebration. I think it'll be one to remember. And he continues to like dance along with all of you. And so you continue along until you are met at the entrance of this fortress. You see before you a collection of flowers that make up an entire entrance gate of sorts. Maybe there isn't something solid behind it, but it's just two massive flower doors that are propped open. And then you see those same flowers. You've seen them before in town. You saw them before when you fought Hee-Haw. Mushrooms and lilies and roses and all kinds of different colorations and shapes and different species and specimens all make up the entrance of this marble-like stone floor. And it is pure white. And everything around it is colorful, so much so that when the light bounces, it bounces onto the white surfaces and it gives it that coloration. And the fireworks are going off above you. And there in the center, you see what looks like a fountain of sorts, but instead of the water shooting upwards, you see it as it's just almost like this funnel that goes inward. And from certain parts of the fortress, you see as water just shoot out and enter one entryway of like a stone entryway that's just sort of been shapen to accept the jet of water as it comes through. And it is enacting itself as you're walking through the entranceway. And behind it, you see a 20-foot wide staircase that leads up into the very entrance of this main single tower that, now that you see an almost elven-like design, has these interconnecting bridges and staircases that don't really necessarily make too much sense, but there are all kinds of different creatures that are walking within it and outside of it. And it is now the moment where the group that you are leading upon disperses. And everyone begins to take their own path. You see as all of a sudden, from a distance, what looks like a ran down, small makeshift kind of home, it brightens up as people approach it. And it becomes like a shop of sorts. You smell sweet treats, almost like a bakery. And you smell it coming to you. It fills up your nostrils. You look to the right and you see as there's another, not necessarily like a blacksmith, but there is an individual outside that is not crafting weapons, but every time he hits the anvil, one of the sparks shoots off, and those are the fireworks that are shooting off. And he is just bouncing the strong black hammer onto it, and everyone now begins to find their own. And there at the base of the tower that goes up into this stained glass, beautiful design that stretches from the very base of the two doors that you see before you, all the way to the very top of the tower, that sort of comes to a fine point. And there at the top, you can see almost what looks like a figure, perhaps, made out of stone, with arms wide open, no hair, just sort of like out and embracing, no sort of noticeable definition to eyes or mouth, but you can see a nose, and you can just see a shaven head, an outstretched hand. And the stained glass is comprised of those same roses, and you see red ones and blue ones and yellow ones, the occasional black one, another black one up here, a red one that's a little bit redder than the rest. But the courtyard is yours. What are you all doing? Cheese and Fiffin, give me one last saving throw.
I mean, why even bother at this point?
I know. I'm doing a little bit better each time. I'm at an 8 now.
11.
You're starting to feel very tired, but you still feel that innate feeling as Pond, when you arrive, the giants from behind you, they lumber through. And you watch as Hathor kind of looks at you and he goes,
I'll see you around, Pond.
and they sort of like run past the towers into a space behind, and all of the giants run back there as well. It's like everyone has their designated spots where they want to be. And you all notice, as people begin to arrive in that waterfall, they begin to throw gifts. And you watch as when this small, almost like covered in like a purple leaf, circular kind of design gets thrown in by a halfling. It goes through, and instead of coming out from the chutes that are sort of like plaguing the entire entranceway, there is one that just sort of, from the very center of it, just shoots up, poof, and it lands at the base of the entrance fortress. Right there where the stairwell sort of leads up into the entranceway of what would be potentially the Archphase domain. It lands there, and it just sort of floats in the space. I need a perception check from all of you.
Nat 1.
8 for me.
I got a 10.
19.
Pond, you and Cheese are sort of like, you can make out that there's perhaps somebody there, but Quinn, as the gift lands, the doors open, and from within, an individual emerges and closes the doors. You see before you, adorned in what looks like black robes with just one piece of fabric that sort of comes from one shoulder to the other, a mess of red long hair that is tied up in a tight ponytail, big muscular body, and a sort of like very faint reddish burgundy-like skin. You see almost what looks like some design of tattoos adorning the whole body, but you can't really make out what they are. And the fabric that comes from over his shoulder completely kind of covers his back until it gets to the front. On the front, you have that stereotypical sort of like one pec showing. The black fabric, when you look at it, even from this distance, has like a twinkle to it. It has like stars almost shining from it. Skin, again, burgundy, almost tan. And to him, when you see him emerge and he turns around, he shouts, "Welcome!" And there's this like white, faint light to him, giving him this almost divine-like look. As this individual steps up, and everyone begins to scream and shout, "Where is he? Show him to us! We've come all this way!" And everyone continues to scream and shout. As he's sort of like beginning to lower the crowd, what are you guys doing?
Fiffin is pretty enamored. He's all in on this show. This display that is being put on in front of him. The music's hitting just right still. And he's just ready for the festivities and to see what this celebration that he's heard so much about will entail.
Cheese is the same. And if anyone that yells anything to the beat, he'll do it.
Pond stopped prior to the fountain because he didn't know where else to go. And even though he's continuing to play at a solid tempo, is kind of like getting distracted by like everything that's going on, but is like waiting for the rest of the crew to be near him again. Hopefully finding like where they're reconvening and joining up. Continuing the music, because I don't know if there are other people playing music or not. So he's not going to let down the whole crowd.
I'm gonna we're gonna party over here to our other friends so we're all together and then we're all gonna be together, and I hate this place. It gives me the heebie-jeebies, it gives me cult vibes. So Quinn is definitely still partying, but is also very much keeping her eyes on where are the exits. Do they have weapons on them? This guy looks suspicious, and we also all saw a guy who looked just like him in our vision, but it's okay because it's a party. And like making sure in that regard. So yeah.
As you're doing all this, you turn around and you see Yermo, wide-eyed, looking at the tower and looking at everything, and he goes, "Isn't it magnificent?"
Let's go over here. Let's go.
Gets back into the groove of things, and he like walks over in your direction.
What was that about?
It's you ever feel like a calling, like you're meant to do something?
Yes.
I feel like I really want to meet the Archfey.
I think that is a good idea. And she'll look to the others for like, is anyone else coherent enough to help with this right now?
Pond is like, he was vibing with the music, and now that he's back over here, he's like excited to see Fiffin, and she's just so excited, but kind of remembers like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be an act. We have a thing to do here. Looks around and notices like, oh shit, oh, okay, Quinn is concerned. Guillermo's here and not dead. And he's glowing. What's going on? Okay, wait, hold on. Well, all right, we're in. That was a lot of fun. They should do this every year. What's the plan? I don't want to throw Floor into the hole.
I don't either.
More and more creatures begin to now throw pastries, even just like whatever it is that they happen to have on their person, they're just throwing in, and it's all getting shot over to the very top of that staircase at the entrance.
You guys need to calm down.
Hey, focus.
What are you doing?
Having the time of our lives.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Look, Jose, we get it. You're trying to help us.
Listen,
But like,
you
the
can
you
have
guys
me roll
going
10 more
on.
times, and I'm still gonna be partying.
Snap out of it!
That is a nat 20.
Let's
There you
go.
It's an 8.
Okay.
I switched dice too, I swear to God.
Cheese, you come out like you still feel good, you're still conscious, you still have everything, but you're like feeling exhaustion a little bit kicked in. Fiffin, you take 1 point of exhaustion.
Buddy!
I gotta keep going. I can't let the arch fade down. Are we supposed to be doing something? Are we going anywhere? What's the plan here?
Put your arms down! What are you doing?
But if I put him down, I can't raise the roof, Quinn.
You can't argue with that.
It's unfortunately very sound logic.
You know, Ryan, that was a good response. It wears off.
Nice!
And he just falls to his
You
knees.
fall to your
and
knees, you're
his
still
face.
exhausted, but you fall, you like drop.
I do the little raise the roof sign to Quinn, and then my arms just fall. There, dude, I can't. What happened? I can't feel them anymore.
Oh my god.
I'll try and drag
I don't-
Fiffin on top of the cab. Just kind of haul him on.
For the record, I did not consciously do that. I was just playing music, so keep it on the down low. There might be some magic happening.
No, that was honestly the best. Like, all of your music is wonderful, but that was by far the hardest that music's ever gone.
You should have recorded that one. That was crazy.
You could put that one on the tape.
I really didn't want to make anything explode, and I'm terrified of touching that thing.
You hear from behind the towers, and the ground kind of shakes as you see the giants almost like engaging in sumo-like wrestling. And you hear shouting and screaming as one of the giants topple another one over. The ground shakes and the water reverberates, and everyone still rejoices, and the giants laugh from behind the building. Everyone is just, again, in that same atmosphere.
What if we just go talk to the big guy and say we want to talk to Sire?
The name drop is either the best idea or the absolute worst idea we could do. And honestly, I think either would move us in a forward direction.
I mean, we could say like, hey, we want to see the Archfey, and if he's like, no, I don't want to do that, then we can be like, but we really need to see Sire, sir, and he'll be like,
I'm kind of with that one.
Yeah, let's do it. Yamo is here, and
I think we should bring him with us.
Are we just marching right up to the front gate then?
we're dancing up to the gates.
Now we're talking.
I don't know if it'd be helpful for us to have disguises while we're here. I feel like everyone here reports probably to the Archfey, and I don't know if we want him to, I guess, see us immediately, but if we're going straight up there.
That's not a bad idea.
Guillermo, he looks to you, Quinn. What is the plan?
We are going to say hey to the Archfey.
Oh, like we're actually going?
We are, yes.
Oh, I don't know if I if I have the courage.
You can do anything you put your mind to, Yemo. You just came back from the dead.
Oh. Okay. I trust you, Quinn. I trust you.
Uh-huh.
Cheese, you were saying.
I will cast Disguise Self on myself. You hear my neck bones crack and snap as you see my head grow an extra foot, and it's just a very long neck. And then,
oh my god!
It's also, just for the fun of it, like a little 1920s detective hat, like a little trilby, and like a tie and a white collar around his neck.
Cute.
A little giraffe corgi.
Oh my god!
I love it.
Horrifying. Adorable. I love
While
it.
we're here, you can call me Emerald Keaton, the world's greatest detective.
I love it.
I'm both intrigued and disturbed. I don't know if this makes us more inconspicuous.
Yeah, but no one's gonna know it's cheese.
True, and I'm not confident I know what the word inconspicuous means. Yeah, we're gonna jive on over to red hair ponytail galaxy toga person.
As you're making your way, more and more people continue to drop items and things in the well. Highest passive perception from the four of you?
Not me.
18.
13.
Pond. You guys are walking your way. You now see as this figure as he stands at the top of the staircase. He says,
Creatures from far and wide, welcome to His Majesty's palace.
everyone shouts and screams, and he goes,
The celebration is yours and yours alone, to bask in, to cherish, and to make that one a memorable celebration for ages to come.
and he kind of like stumbles his words, and you see he's kind of like trying, to like give a presentation, but doesn't seem like he's an official spokesperson of any kind. But from the well you hear,
Help us. Help us.
"Now,
The Archfey could not be present at this time. But just wait, for this day, as many of you know, the suns will set, and the moons of the planes of existence will rise, basking this beautiful fortress in the purest light this world has ever seen. So dance, eat, enjoy, and if you have a gift, deposit it. The Archfey is happy knowing you're all here."
everyone begins to shout and scream as you guys get closer and closer. More and more of the gifts begin to be dropped off, essentially by where he is, as they're all floating in a pile that seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he walks over and he begins to inspect the gifts, so it seems like something else has drawn his attention.
If I heard that, it would be one of those like walk, slow, what the heck was that, to us, like just straight diversion towards the well. And am I able to look in without falling in?
Yeah, there's like a stone, sort of like a border to it where the water is able to be contained.
Hello?
No response.
Does someone need help?
How loud are you saying this?
Not much louder than a normal speaking voice.
No response.
In a last-ditch effort, I just loudly rumble my throat down into it.
You watch as the water itself vibrate as well, and you hear a female voice.
Hello? Help us, please. Quiet!
You hear like sounds of something shutting, slamming, it seems. All of you hear the female voice. Cheese, you recognize it. The voice of Marakar coming from inside.
Curiously, but hesitantly, walks up to the side of the fountain.
Pond, did you hear that?
Yeah. I don't know what that might be. I can't see down there very well.
I can't either.
It's probably not safe for us to jump down into the well that launches things at the front door.
Right. No, not this time.
Do you recognize the voice? Do you hear anything else? I know your hearing's a bit better than mine.
You pick up on her scent too, Cheese.
Oh my god.
I think Cheese is really restraining himself right now.
I heard the voice. I can smell her too. But I've been tricked before. This time I'm not gonna put anyone else in danger for this.
Pond is gonna look at Cheese, place a mage hand on his shoulder, and like look at the rest of the group. If she's here, we'll find her. But let's just do it smart.
There has to be something down there.
But they're just keeping things underneath the fountain?
People and Wenya and her little troop of troublemakers were going to gift bodies. Yamo was one of them.
Make a perception check, Quinn.
Oh no, our bestie Yamo is probably gone. That's a 16.
You notice Wenya and the other two are not going by the well. They are keeping going, and they're essentially taking their cart on the side of the tower. And the three of them seem like they're getting ready to go speak with the individual at the very top of the staircase.
The delivery entrance.
I think we need to go be part of that conversation.
She said we needed disguises. Do we want to be dead disguises and just hop in the carriage?
Let's do it.
We need to move fast and quiet.
Yeah.
I got you on quiet.
And I do a little quiet bark, and I cast Pass Without a Trace.
Cheese, did you ever learn to play dead?
I mean, I have died once, so I'm getting pretty good at it.
We'll unpack that.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me a stealth check then.
37.
30.
40.
I've never seen a 40 before.
Why? How?
19 plus 11 stealth plus 10 pass without a trace.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Jesus.
Yep, that's a 40.
34.
Performing that first stealth check, you manage to pass through the people coming out of the tavern. Because you're being stealthy and you're all looking around, perception check from everybody.
22 for perception.
Also got a 22.
I also got a 22.
18.
Get it
What
together,
the
Ryan.
fuck? What the fuck?
I'm left out, I know. Sorry. I'll, just for funsies, to join the group, I'm going to use my reaction for Flash of Genius to add +4 for 22.
Hell yeah.
As you guys are making your way through the people, and you find these little pockets of large crowds where you're able to sneak through, and you notice that the three of them are now having a conversation. They all sort of like come back to the back of the cart and begin to sort of like gather something. But you guys notice that from inside of the buildings that you're passing from the tavern, you see as that same bald head, sort of like androgynous sort of individual with the long pointed ears that at this point is serving what looks like a fine drink into a very polished glass tankard. When they're polishing it, when they look up outside of the door, one half of their face is just completely decayed. And then they continue pouring the drink, and then you look over, and then you see another one that is gathering flowers that looks up at all of you, seemingly sort of able to see past your little charade. You watch as when they clutch the flowers, all of them are wilted and dried up and turned over. And then when you sort of give that second glance, the face is back to normal and the flowers are still blooming and blossoming and beautiful. As now at this point, you're getting closer. You're about to get to the cart, but they're now sort of like hanging out behind it as they're sort of like still separating and like having a conversation amongst themselves. You guys, again, find those spaces, those moments to keep shimmering through. And Quinn, you sort of look back, and at this point, you're almost like dragging Yermo's hand, because it's like the closer and closer you get to the fortress, the more he is just sort of like inching to get closer to it. He's still very quiet and keeping his pace and hiding through the people. But every now and then when you sort of like take a moment to rest before you pass through another individual to get closer to that carriage, you just can't help but look at him, and he just in wonder stares at it all. His horns still sort of having that vibrant flare of color to them, his fur rejuvenated. And at that point, you guys find a perfect moment, just as the three of them, they come up and they begin to ascend the stairs. And you watch as Wanya, she's holding her hands, patting herself, making sure that she looks all presentable, and she goes, I'll be the one to speak with him.
It's no fear, Waynia. You got this.
Okay. And she begins to go up the stairs as the two of them are walking behind her, but you guys find enough time where you're able to sneak inside of the carriage. All of you go there, and in that moment, Quinn, Guillermo holds your hand, and with like a feverish look, he looks at you, and he says,
I have to meet the Archfey.
and that's where we're gonna end tonight's session.
Oh, he gonna book
Buddy.
it. Yeah, he's gonna book it.
This is not good. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good.
Thank you all so much for listening. Catch us in 2 weeks, where I guess the rave keeps going, you know? Let's let the celebration keep bumping. Thank you all so much, guys. See you in 2 weeks.